Let me talk to you today like a friend who has watched you give too much of yourself to people who give so little in return. A friend who has seen you stay in conversations you should have ended, explain yourself to people who already made up their minds, beg for clarity you deserve, and defend your heart to people who didn't even care if they were hurting you. There comes a point in your journey where you stop trying to convince people to see your value. A point where you stop pleading for understanding. A point where you simply close the door, not with anger, not with bitterness, but with maturity. A quiet maturity that says, I don't need you to understand me. I just need peace. That is the moment your life begins to change. Most people don't realize this, but one of the most powerful decisions you'll ever make is the decision to stop explaining yourself to the wrong people. The day you stop bending for those who refuse to meet you halfway. The day you stop performing for an audience that isn't even paying attention. The day you stop reacting to every pull, every trigger, every misunderstanding. The day you stop explaining, you reclaim your power. I want you to listen to me very closely. Not everyone deserves access to your clarity. Not everyone deserves the privilege of knowing the details of your heart. Some people only ask questions so they can twist your answers. Some people seek explanations only to use them against you. Some people demand your truth while hiding theirs. And sometimes, the most mature, most spiritual, most powerful thing you can do is walk away without a speech. You don't need to write a paragraph. You don't need to clarify your intention. You don't need to rewrite the history. You don't need to defend your character. You don't need to fix the story in their head. Walk away and let silence do what your explanations never could. Because there are people who don't want to understand you. They want to drain you. They want you talking so they don't have to reflect. They want you explaining so they can avoid accountability. They want you caught up so you don't outgrow them. They want you reacting so they can stay in control. But you're evolving. You're awakening. You're learning the power of quiet strength. When you learn to walk away, something shifts inside you. You stop trying to be the hero in everyone's story. You stop trying to fix what was never yours. You stop trying to make people see you through a lens they never intended to use. And when that happens, you start breathing differently. This message is for the person who has spent years over-explaining, over-giving, over-trying, over-loving, and overstaying. You have exhausted yourself emotionally trying to make people understand your heart. But here's a truth you must swallow. You don't owe anyone a version of yourself that costs you your peace. Read that again slowly. You don't owe long explanations for growing, healing, setting boundaries, cutting ties, protecting your energy, choosing yourself, walking away. Your silence is not weakness. Your silence is not fear. Your silence is not avoidance. Your silence is emotional maturity. It is you saying, my peace matters more than proving a point. And the moment you embrace that, life becomes lighter. Walking away isn't running. Walking away isn't quitting. Walking away isn't giving up. Walking away is choosing alignment over chaos, clarity over confusion, and self-respect over self-betrayal. There is a version of you that explains less and observes more. A version of you that reacts less and decides more. A version of you that apologizes less and chooses better. A version of you that stops arguing with people committed to misunderstanding you. That version of you is waiting on the other side of a simple, powerful choice. Stop explaining. Just walk away. Why you feel the need to explain, the emotional cost of over-explaining. Before you learn how to walk away, you need to understand why you've been explaining yourself all these years. Because people don't over-explain for no reason. People over-explain because somewhere along the way, Life taught them that their voice wasn't enough unless they defended it. And that pressure doesn't come out of nowhere. It comes from childhood, comes from family dynamics. It comes from rejection. It comes from trauma. It comes from experiences where you felt misunderstood, unseen, or unheard. Somewhere in your story, you learned this silent belief. If I don't explain myself well enough, people will abandon me. If I don't explain myself clearly, people will think I'm wrong. If I don't defend my heart, people won't know who I really am. So you started talking too much, justifying too much, clarifying too much, giving too many chances, opening doors that should have stayed closed, letting people back in because you wanted them to just understand. But here is the truth most people never sit down to admit. Over-explaining is a survival strategy. Walking away is a healing strategy. Over-explaining is rooted in fear. Walking away is rooted in self-respect. Let's go deeper. 1. You over-explain because you want to be understood. You're not crazy for wanting that. Everybody wants to be understood. Everybody wants to feel seen. But not everybody earns that privilege. Not everybody has the emotional maturity to meet you halfway. And your heart has paid the price for trying. You thought, if I explain myself one more time, maybe they'll get it. But they didn't, because they weren't listening to understand you. They were listening to defend themselves. That's why no matter how sincere you were, they twisted your words. No matter how gentle you were, they made you the villain. No matter how transparent you were, they created their own narrative. That's not your failure, that's their limitation. 2. You over-explain because you're afraid of being misunderstood. Being misunderstood hurts deeply, especially when your intentions were pure. But here is the harsh truth. People committed to misunderstanding you will never understand you, even with 1,000 explanations. Some people don't want clarity, they want control. Some people don't want peace, they want conflict. Some people don't want truth, they want drama. And no amount of explaining will change that. 3. You over-explain because you fear losing people. You've tried to hold on to relationships that were already slipping. You tried to fix what was broken on their side. You tried to heal people who weren't even trying to heal themselves. But here's what experience teaches. Anyone who can leave you because you stopped explaining yourself was never solid in the first place. The people who are meant for you won't walk away because you set a boundary. They won't vanish because you choose peace. They won't disappear because you stopped defending your every move. People who love you don't need a thesis statement to understand your heart. For you over-explain because you're trying to prove your worth. You want to show your loyalty, your intentions, your heart, because that is who you are. But explanation has never been the proof of your worth. Your worth is in your presence. Your worth is in your character. Your worth is in your actions. Your worth is in your consistency. You don't need to audition for the role of enough in anyone's life. 5. You over-explain because you were raised in environments where you had to defend yourself. Many people grew up in homes where they weren't believed the first time. Homes where they had to explain why they felt sad. Homes where they had to justify normal human emotions. Homes where speaking up led to punishment, not understanding. So as adults, they keep justifying themselves. Not because they're weak, but because they were conditioned to over-explain. But now you're older, you're wiser, and it's time to break that cycle. The consequences of over-explaining. You think explaining helps, but over time it does the opposite. It drains your emotional energy. It makes you doubt yourself. It invites manipulation. It teaches people they can question your every move. It keeps you trapped in situations you should have left. It lowers your self-esteem. It makes you dependent on external validation. Over-explaining doesn't fix relationships. It exposes the ones that were never safe. Over-explaining doesn't create clarity. It creates emotional leaks. Over-explaining doesn't make people care. It shows who never cared. And now that you understand the emotional weight behind it, you're ready for the next step. The strength to walk away without guilt. Walking away is not cold. It's not pride. It's not arrogance. It's not avoidance. It's wisdom. It is the understanding that silence can heal what explanations cannot. It is knowing that distance can bring peace where conversation cannot. It is choosing yourself even when others don't choose you. The power of silence. Why walking away speaks louder than words. Silence is not empty. Silence is not weakness. Silence is not surrender. Silence is strategy. Silence is power. Silence is clarity. Silence is self-respect in its purest form. People think the most powerful thing you can do is speak, but sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is say nothing at all and simply walk away. Because silence is a mirror. It forces people to face themselves. It forces them to confront their behavior. It forces them to see what they lost. Words don't do that. Arguments don't do that. Explaining doesn't do that. But silence? Silence reveals everything. Let me break down why silence is one of the strongest responses you will ever give, especially when someone is trying to pull you into confusion, conflict, or disrespect. 1. Silence removes the fuel from their fire. You have to understand something. Some people need your reaction to feel powerful. They live on it. They feed on it. They study how you respond. They push you to explain, argue, defend, because that's how they stay in control. But silence? Silence takes the power out of their hands and puts it back in yours. Arguments give their ego energy. Silence starves it. As soon as you stop engaging, their fire burns out. That's why silence is not passive. It's not being a coward. It's you choosing not to give your energy where it is not respected. 2. Silence protects your peace. Not every battle deserves your presence. Not every conversation deserves your voice. Not every person deserves your access. You have worked too hard on yourself to let someone drag you back into chaos. When you choose silence, you are choosing peace over noise. You are choosing clarity over confusion. You are choosing your mental health over their ego. Peace is expensive, and silence is how you protect it. 3. Silence shows your maturity. Anybody can argue. Anybody can shout. Anybody can fire back. Anybody can match disrespect with disrespect. But it takes strength, real strength, to stay calm in the presence of nonsense. Silence shows you are no longer controlled by emotions. Silence shows you are guided by wisdom. Silence shows you've grown past reacting. It takes maturity to say, your behavior no longer deserves a response. That is self-control at its highest level. For silence makes your absence felt. When you walk away quietly, people feel it. They may not say it. They may pretend they don't care. They may put on a show. But internally, they feel the shift. Your silence moves differently when your presence held value. Some people will only realize what you meant when you stop showing up. Not when you argue. Not when you explain. Not when you plead. But when you disappear. 5. Silence creates accountability. Here's one of the most powerful truths. Silence forces people to sit alone with the consequences of their behavior. As long as you keep explaining, they don't feel accountable. As long as you keep defending yourself, they don't face their actions. As long as you keep engaging, they don't feel the loss. But your silence? Your silence puts a mirror in front of them. It makes them ask, what did I do? What did I lose? Why did they suddenly stop? Why did they choose distance? This is why silence creates more awareness than any lecture. 6. Silence gives you time to see people clearly. When you stop talking, that's when people reveal themselves. If someone truly cares, they will correct themselves. If someone values you, they will reach out. If someone respects you, they will change their tone. If someone wants to fix things, they will step toward you. And if they don't, then your silence helped you see the truth. Silence is not just a response, it's a filter. It filters out the loud, the manipulative, the disrespectful, and the emotionally immature. 7. Silence teaches others how to treat you. People learn your boundaries from your behavior, not your words. When you walk away instead of explaining, you are communicating something powerful. I will not stay where I am disrespected. I will not negotiate my worth. I will not justify my decisions. I will not tolerate chaos. I am unavailable for nonsense. Silence trains people on what you will and will not accept. If someone wants to stay in your life, they will adjust. If they refuse to adjust, they will remove themselves. Either way, you win. 8. Silence strengthens your self-worth. When you choose silence, you are saying, I trust myself. I don't need anyone to validate my truth. My peace matters more than their opinion. My intuition is enough. My heart is enough. I am enough. You stop fighting for a seat in rooms you've outgrown. You stop trying to convince people to choose you. You stop chasing people who are not running toward you. You stop pouring into cups that have holes. Silence is when you finally put yourself first. 9. Silence opens the door for better. Every time you stay in a situation that drains you, you delay the blessings meant for you. But silence creates space. It creates space for better friendships, better relationships, better environments, better peace, better opportunities, better energy. When you stop engaging with what is wrong for you, you make room for what is right for you. Some blessings can't find you because you've been too busy trying to explain your worth to the wrong people. Silence breaks that cycle. 10. Silence isn't running away, it's rising above. There is a huge difference between running away and rising above. Running away is fear. Rising above is wisdom. You're not avoiding. You're choosing something higher. You're not scared to confront. You're no longer willing to be dragged into low-level battles. You're not walking away because you're weak. You're walking away because you've evolved. Silence is not retreat. It is elevation. The Hidden Freedom Indiana Walking Away. How distance restores power, clarity, and self-respect. Walking away is not the end of something. It is the beginning of you. It is the beginning of your peace. The beginning of your maturity. The beginning of your self-respect. The beginning of your emotional freedom. Most people are terrified of walking away because they've been conditioned to believe that staying, even when it hurts, makes them strong, loyal, or loving. But walking away does not make you heartless. It makes you honest. It makes you wise. It makes you responsible for your own life. When you finally walk away, you unlock a version of yourself you didn't even know was there. Because pain had been clouding it, people had been draining it, and you had been too busy explaining to hear your own truth. Let's dive into the freedom that walking away gives you. The kind of freedom you can feel in your body, your mind, your spirit, and your daily life. 1. Walking away restores your power. When you stay in situations where you feel unheard, unseen, or unappreciated, you slowly lose yourself. You lose your voice. You lose your confidence. You lose your strength. But the moment you choose to walk away, something shifts inside you. You feel yourself returning. You feel your strength waking up. You feel your dignity rising. Because you finally did something for you. Walking away is not just a physical action. It's an emotional declaration. I'm taking my power back. Your self-worth increases. Your confidence rises. Your energy returns. Your mind becomes clearer. You regain control over your own life. That is freedom. 2. Walking away brings clarity you couldn't get when you were inside the chaos. When you're in a painful situation, you can't see it clearly. You're too close. You're too involved. Your emotions blur your vision. But distance? Distance opens your eyes. The moment you step away, you start to see things for what they really were. The disrespect you normalized. The behavior you kept forgiving. The patterns you kept rationalizing. The truth you kept avoiding. Too often, clarity doesn't come while you're talking. It comes while you're silent and gone. Distance reveals everything that explanation could not. 3. Walking away protects your spirit. Some people drain your spirit so quietly that you don't notice until you're empty. And emptiness doesn't show up all at once. It creeps in slowly. You feel anxious around them. You feel smaller around them. You feel like you're always wrong. You feel like you have to prove yourself. You feel like you're never enough. But the moment you walk away, you breathe again, that deep breath you didn't even know you'd been holding. Your spirit begins to heal. Your mind calms down. Your heart softens. Your peace returns. The freedom walking away gives you is not just external, it's internal. For walking away teaches people how to treat you. People treat you based on what you allow. When you stay where you're disrespected, you teach them your standards are low. When you walk away, you teach them your standards are high. You're not teaching through words, you're teaching through action. Your silence tells them, I will not negotiate my worth. I will not stay where I'm not valued. I will not fight for a place in your life. I will not repeat myself. I will not carry what is not mine. The people who take you for granted feel it the moment you leave. Walking away forces them to respect what they once ignored. 5. Walking away breaks your attachment to what was hurting you. Sometimes the reason you couldn't walk away earlier is because of attachment, not love. Attachment is the fear of being alone. Attachment is holding on to potential. Attachment is hoping they'll change. Attachment is thinking you can fix it. But walking away breaks that bond. You start to see that you didn't need them, you needed peace. You didn't need their approval, you needed clarity. You didn't need their presence, you needed your power back. The moment you detach, you become unstoppable. 6. Walking away creates space for what you truly deserve. Life has a way of giving you new blessings once you stop holding on to old pain. But blessings cannot enter a crowded life. Better cannot enter where bitterness lives. Peace cannot enter where chaos stays. New love cannot enter where old wounds are still open. Walking away creates space. Space for healing. Space for better relationships. Space for better environments. Space for healthier conversations. Space for people who value you. Space for opportunities you couldn't see before. Space for growth you had been delaying. Some of the greatest doors will open after you walk away from the wrong ones. 7. Walking away ends the emotional roller coaster. When you stay in situations filled with confusion, disrespect, and constant tension, your emotions never settle. You're up today, down tomorrow. Hopeful today, exhausted tomorrow. Trying today, drained tomorrow. Walking away stops that cycle. Your emotional system resets. Your nervous system calms. Your body stops living in survival mode. You feel peace, real peace, for the first time in a long time. That is when you finally realize leaving wasn't losing. Leaving was saving yourself. 8. Walking away shows you how strong you really are. You don't truly understand your strength until you walk away from something you wanted to stay in. Not because it was good for you, but because you had history, or hope, or attachment, or fear of starting over. Walking away builds emotional muscle. It teaches you, I can let go and still be whole. I can choose myself and still be loving. I can walk away without falling apart. I can survive without what I thought I needed. Strength grows the moment you stop clinging to what is breaking you. 9. Walking away brings you back to yourself. This may be the most important part. When you walk away from the wrong people and the wrong environments, you return to yourself. You hear your own voice again. You trust your intuition again. You value your peace again. You connect with your soul again. You see your worth again. Walking away is not abandonment, it's alignment. You are not losing people. You are finding yourself. And the version of you that returns after walking away? Stronger, wiser, quieter, more intentional, more grounded, more peaceful, more self-respecting, more whole. Let me leave you with this truth. You have already done the hardest part. You've understood that you don't owe anyone endless explanations, and that your peace is far more valuable than being understood by everyone. The power is in your hands to choose yourself over chaos, clarity over confusion, and dignity over unnecessary arguments. From here, it's about action, not words. Every time you feel the urge to justify, explain, or plead, remember, silence is not weakness, it is strength. Walking away doesn't mean giving up. It means rising above, reclaiming your life, and protecting your energy. Take a moment today to reflect. Where in your life have you been over-explaining? Who or what has been draining your energy unnecessarily? And now, how can you choose quiet strength instead? You are not responsible for other people's inability to see your value. You are responsible for your own peace, your own growth, and your own happiness. Embrace that freedom. Let go. Walk away. And watch your life transform as you step into a higher version of yourself. Remember, your peace is non-negotiable. Your energy is sacred. Your life is yours to protect.